Welcome to Voices of Fitness and Bodybuilding, Episode 9, the podcast that enables me to give back to the bodybuilding and fitness community while unshaven, unshowered, and sitting at home in my pajamas. In this episode, we explore the difference between competition and support as it relates to enthusiasm for exercise. Which is better? And in the bodybuilding segment, well, I think this one is mostly for people who have put their bodies to the test and tried to compete. It's about the difficulty of losing those last few ornery pounds and a few tricks to get that done. Dave's segment is about keeping it simple in the gym. I think we're all guilty of overcomplicating things sometimes, and we open with a funny story from Raising the Bar that illustrates this perfectly. And for the off-topic segment, I've picked something a little different that I think you'll really like. It's a classic horror short story that I know you won't easily be able to forget. The views expressed in the articles are obviously the opinions of the writers and not me. I make no claims for the veracity of the information presented, so use your head and check these things out for yourself before trying anything you hear about on VOB. And if you've never exercised before, get started. It's never too late, but be sure to check with your doctor first to see if everything is okay, which you should be doing every year anyway. I had an overweight friend a few years ago who hated going to the gym but loved playing racquetball or volleyball. It was the only way he would get exercise. He needed the competition that the game provided in order to motivate him. Now, I've never been one for games or group exercise classes. I prefer to train alone or with a trusted partner. But a lot of people love the social aspect of working out with a group. So which is better? Competing against others or encouraging each other? Which translates into more fitness success? Well, Matt Weick, writing on ironmagazine.com, dug into the studies to give us this report. Competition versus support. Which improves exercise adherence? By Matt Weick, posted February 13th, 2017 on ironmagazine.com. There's nothing wrong with a little friendly competition, right? Or is there? But then, how does a support system fare when compared? Researchers looked at several ways to help exercisers adhere to an exercise program through the use of social media, and the findings might just surprise you. 800 participants agreed to sign up for an 11-week exercise program. Each participant was given the ability to take exercise classes at a gym, along with nutrition counseling, fitness mentoring, and access to a website created by the researchers to help with managing the entire program. The participants were split into 4 groups to showcase how different social networks changed their exercise behavior. The 4 groups were specified as team support, team competition, individual competition, and a control group. At the end of the program, there were prizes given to the participants who attended the most exercise classes provided by the study. The differences in social network varied within each group. The team support group was able to chat online with their teammates to push them during the program and to help them adhere to it. In the team competition group, participants were able to keep track of their performance via a leaderboard on the website. For those in the individual group, they were able to look at exercise leaderboards to see how all the individual participants were doing. All names were kept anonymous. The last group, being the control group, had the ability to attend any classes they wanted, but were not permitted any socialization via social media and could only use the website designed by the researchers. When researchers looked at the research data from their study, they noticed that support systems actually do not work for most people. In fact, the support system was found to have people going to the gym less than if they were completely left alone by everyone. The competition group actually attended 90% more classes than the control group in the study. Both individual competition and team competition adhered to the programs when compared to the other groups. The team support group was found to have gone to 50% less classes than the competitive groups, showing that having a social support network does not help with adherence to an exercise program. One researcher made a comment stating, quote, "Framing the social interaction as a competition can create positive social norms for exercising. Social support can make people more dependent on receiving messages, which can change the focus of the program." End quote. Another researcher noted, quote, "Supportive groups can backfire because they draw attention to members who are less active, which can create a downward spiral of participation. Competitive groups frame relationships in terms of goal setting by the most active members. These relationships help to motivate exercise because they give people higher expectations for their own levels of performance. In a competitive setting, each person's activity raises the bar for everyone else. Social support is the opposite. A ratcheting down can happen. If people stop exercising, it gives permission for others to stop too, and the whole thing can unravel fairly quickly." End quote. The benefit of social media is that you can use it in the confines of your own home. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to interact in person with people if you aren't comfortable doing so. There are many benefits that come along with social media, and having the ability to compete with others is a great way to adhere to a program, whether it be exercise, weight loss, smoking cessation, etc. One researcher said it best when he mentioned, quote, "Lifestyle changes are hard to make, but if you can give people the right kinds of social tools to help them do it, there's a lot of good that can be done at relatively little cost." End quote. Forming healthy habits can transform a lifestyle from something that could potentially put you in an early grave to something that allows you to live a good quality of life and see your grandchildren grow up. While competition generally has winners and losers, in the case of this study, anyone who is engaging in a healthy form of competition to adhere to an exercise program is clearly a winner in our book. So rather than posting your dirty laundry on your social media platforms, try competing with others to get in the best shape of your life. So it looks like my friend was right. Competition wins over other forms of social interaction. And I guess that kind of explains the recent proliferation and popularity of CrossFit, because it's essentially a competitive group activity. You know, what you can say what you will about CrossFit, but it is a lot of fun, and that group dynamic helps motivate a lot of people to exercise where they otherwise wouldn't. I'm still a solitary guy, or at least a working partner kind of guy, so I don't know if I'll be joining any competition classes anytime soon, but this is good to know for people who really detest going to the gym, and there are a lot of people who just hate it. This would be a good way to get the exercise you need. It's tough to get into shape. It's even tougher to get into really good shape, ab shape. It used to be big arms or a barrel chest, but these days having abs has become the benchmark for fitness. If your abdominals are showing and you haven't lost too much muscle mass elsewhere, you've really accomplished something. But what does it take to do it? Alwyn Cosgrove, writing on tnation.com, outlines how to take your body to a place it really doesn't want to go. Though he directs this piece toward people just trying to have abs, I'm sure it applies to anyone trying to take their body to an extreme of fitness, including those who are preparing to step on stage and be judged for it. The Last 10 Pounds, 30 Days to Abs Without Changing Your Diet, by Alwyn Cosgrove, posted 5/12/2008 on tnation.com. That's t-nation.com. Warning: this program sucks. You'll hate me, you'll be miserable, and you'll try to Dr. Phil yourself into not doing it, but it will work. Well, there you are, 200 pounds and 12% body fat. People are patting you on the back for your progress, but you're just happy you found your penis again. And just this morning you almost saw your abs. Almost. But trouble's a brewin'. Judgment Day is coming. It could be a class reunion, July 4th, Labor Day, or just some pool party where you're forced to lose the shirt. Are you ready for the reveal? Nah, you're close, but not quite there. Realistically, most people will need to be closer to 7 or 8% body fat to see their abs. A few lucky SOBs can see theirs at higher percentages, but you need to get much leaner than you think. Are those tears? Anyway, assuming no muscle loss, our Mr. Hypothetical, or Ms. Hypothetical, is looking at dropping 8 to 10 pounds of fat. But it's the last 8 to 10. You know, those they'll be around after the cockroaches pounds. And we're going to do it in 30 days. To exterminate 2 pounds per week, you need to make a further deficit in your calories. It's really that simple. But don't confuse simple with easy, because you're going to work. I'm going to make some assumptions. 1, you're between 10 to 12% body fat. 2, you're lifting weights regularly. 3, your weight is currently at maintenance. In other words, you aren't losing or gaining right now. 4, you have the time to add activity to your current schedule. Everything you're doing activity-wise needs to stay the same. We're adding to your activity levels to ramp up the fat dump. And number 5, you're ready to suffer. I've kicked around the idea of training for fat loss without changing your diet one bit. It's possible, and this program will do just that. But it'll work faster if you do clean up the dirty dieting. If you read my previous article, The Hierarchy of Fat Loss, also posted on tnation.com, you'll remember that nutrition is so powerful that it comprised 1 and 2 on my list. You can't out-train the world's crappiest diet. Skipping the Big Mac, the feed trough of fries, and silo of soda saves you about 1,400 calories and takes 0 seconds. Eating them and trying to burn off the calories will require hours of unspeakable deeds. So despite my promise, rather than ignore the obvious first step, here's what I recommend. 1. Establish how many calories you're currently consuming. 2. Cut 20% or 500 calories, whichever is lower. Assuming a current maintenance intake of 2,800 calories for our 200-pounder, 14 times body weight minus 20% is 560. If that was you, you'd cut 500 calories from your diet. You're now at 2,300 calories. Normally, caloric deficits are made from carbs or fats, and only carbs or fats. We keep protein at epic proportions to maintain muscle. However, this is an extreme approach to slice off that last bit of lard. So instead of keeping protein at the standard 1 gram per pound of body weight, keep protein at 1 gram per pound of lean body mass, or LBM. Remember, you're not trying to build muscle at this time, just maintain it. So for our 200-pounder at 12%, 176 grams of protein is enough for now. You can go this low in the short term without risking any muscle loss. Slightly more is better, of course, but 176 grams would be the minimum for our guinea pig. This may give you a little leeway to keep your sanity, for now. However, if you do decide to cut some calories from protein, once you hit 1 gram per pound of LBM, that's it. Any further deficit needs to come from somewhere else. At 176 grams of protein and 2,300 calories, we're looking at a 30% protein diet. Based on pure numbers, cutting 500 calories should strip away another pound of fat per week from your body. After 7 days, assess your fat loss. You better have lost around 2 to 2.5 pounds. Give yourself this same gut check every 7 days. If fat loss ever drops to less than 2 pounds a week, cut another 10 to 20% of calories from your diet without cutting protein to kickstart further losses. Hopefully you don't have to adjust, but here's what you'll do. If you lost 2 pounds since the last weigh-in, there'll be no changes. Otherwise, cut another 20% or 500 calories, again, whichever is lower. In our example, we were at 2,300 calories. 20% is 460. Boom. Our increasingly cranky bastard is now down to 1,840 calories. Keeping protein at 176 grams, the diet is now about 40% protein. This step is usually unnecessary. I've never seen anyone have to go this low. But with D-Day rapidly approaching, consider this some advanced troubleshooting. A warning. Cutting more calories than necessary won't make the plan work better. Now read that again. Cutting more calories than necessary won't make the plan work better. It's kind of important. Since we're talking about fat loss without a dietary shock and awe, we need to look at anything and everything that might increase metabolism. A lot has been written about cold water intake and fat loss, but does it do a damn thing? Well, let's look at what the science guys say. One study showed a 24% increase in resting metabolic rate, RMR, for 60 minutes after consuming a half liter of ice water, while a second found an RMR increase of 30% after drinking the cold stuff. But don't get excited yet. Another study found a minuscule increase of 4.5%. That's weak. So here's the deal. We have 3 studies, all showing some increase in metabolism after drinking cold water. But they disagree on how much. Even at the top end, we're only looking at about 25 extra calories burned for every half liter of ice water. That's not a hell of a lot, but we'll take it. Okay, since you haven't started the workout and we're still friends, I think this recommendation, even with the research, is stretching it. But if the diet stays, you need to burn every damn calorie you can. Since it definitely won't hurt, and might work, you're going to do it. Start by slamming a half liter of ice-cold water as soon as you wake up. Do that every 2 hours. And even if it isn't a metabolism magic trick, you'll still burn a couple hundred calories running to the bathroom after every sip. A bit of a caveat with this next part. Matt endorses a couple of different products with which I have no experience, so take his word for it. You can try these things out, or you can just use whatever you normally use. By now I think you understand that the goal is fat loss, so pop 2 capsules of Hot Rocks Extreme twice a day. Take them as soon as you wake up and no later than 1 p.m. If I take them past that, I'm not sleeping. And you won't like me when I'm not sleeping. In terms of a PM supplement, go ahead and take an additional full serving of Carbolin 19. Aside from the numerous benefits of consuming fish oil, you can't pick up anything health-related and not run into research showing that fish oil enhances fat loss. Additionally, Dr. John Berardi has mentioned that preliminary data from the University of Western Ontario shows that fish oil supplementation increases LBM during non-dieting conditions, obviously, increases basal metabolic rate by up to 400 calories a day, decreases inflammation, and improves the ratio of carbs to fats oxidized, sparing carbs and burning fat. The skinny on fish oil? It won't hurt, and it might help. So do it. Now this is where you will start to hate me. It's now time to ramp up your activity levels. I'm assuming you're already pounding the weights and the pavement, but here's what you're going to add to your routine. The metabolic workout consists of 3 zones that combine metabolic resistance training, interval training, and steady-state cardio. It's to be performed 3 to 4 times per week. If I can't hear you cussing me out 3 states over, you're not trying hard enough. Zone 1, the 15-minute complex. This is done EDT style. Everyone thank Charles Staley. Perform the following in a complex of 1 rep each with your hands never leaving the bar. Deadlift, Romanian deadlift, bent over row, high pull, power clean, front squat, push press, back squat. That's 8 reps, or all of your fingers if you lost a fight with a chainsaw. Rest as long as you want, but perform as many rounds as you can in 15 minutes. Start with a goal of getting 10 rounds done. Select a load that's challenging, but one that makes it easy to complete the set. Remember, we aren't using this to outlift Mariusz Pudzianowski. We're using this to break through to that next level of leanness. Progressions. Week 1. For each workout in Week 1, try to get at least an extra round done. Week 2. Add 5 pounds to the bar and perform 2 reps of each, 16 reps per round. Work on increasing the total rounds performed each workout. Week 3. Add another 5 pounds to the bar and perform 3 reps of each, 24 reps per round. Work on increasing the total rounds performed each workout. Week 4. Add yet another 5 pounds to the bar again and go back to performing only 1 rep of each, 8 reps per round. Continue to work on increasing the total rounds performed each workout. Zone 2. 15 minutes of intervals. For the intervals, go wild on the cardio equipment of your choice. In Week 1, you do 60 seconds of intense work, 120 seconds of recovery but still moving, and perform 5 rounds. For Week 2, you do 60 seconds of work, 105 seconds of recovery, and repeat until the 15 minutes are up. For Week 3, 60 seconds of work, 90 seconds of recovery. Perform 6 rounds in 15 minutes. Week 4, 60 seconds of work, 75 seconds of recovery. Repeat until the 15 minutes are up. Zone 3, steady state cardio. At this point, don't increase the intensity, just the duration. So keep these hamster wheel sessions at about 75% of your maximum heart rate. Week 1, 15 minutes, Week 2, 20 minutes, Week 3, 25 minutes, and Week 4, 30 minutes. Increasing non-exercise physical activity. NEPA stands for non-exercise physical activity. I've never been sure where NEPA ends and exercise begins, but the basic idea is to move as much as possible. By the way, in a previous episode, we talked about this thing, but they called it NEAT, N-E-A-T. Here he calls it NEPA. Same thing. In a nutshell, go have an active lifestyle outside of the gym. No throwing the video game controller across the room and fetching it after you've hit the bottom of the Doritos doesn't cut it. There's a balance, though. I've seen people make the mistake of stepping up their training so aggressively in order to lose fat that they're too tired to even look at nudie pictures. Don't let this happen to you. But every little bit counts if you're reluctant to change your diet. Thus, you need to add some NEPA activity every single day. NEPA walks are also one of the cornerstones of success with the Velocity diet. And you can find the Velocity diet also on tnation.com. It is a total body transformation program that you can get there. Of course, you have to pay for it, but you get what you pay for, right? So starting tomorrow and every day for the next 30 days, you're going to add in a brisk walk, rain or shine. You can do it on a treadmill. You can do it around your neighborhood. You can wear a weighted vest. You can do it fasted. You can even do it naked, but not in my neighborhood. Just get it done. Week 1, do 45 minutes a day. Week 2, do 50 minutes a day. Week 3, 55 minutes, and Week 4, 60 minutes per day. If you, or the nerd next door, does the math, in the next 4 weeks, you'll have performed an additional 24.5 hours of activity. Most will think increasing fat loss without changing your diet is crazy talk. But with this plan, it's doable. That is, if you have the tenacity. So, do you? I'll leave you to think about a quote from Dan John. Quote, "Fat loss is an all-out war. Give it 28 days, only 28 days. Attack it with all you have. It's not a lifestyle choice, it's a battle. Lose fat and then get back into moderation." There's another one for you, moderation. Revelation says it best. "You are lukewarm, and I shall spit you out." Moderation is for sissies. Now get after it. Wow, that's intense. I don't think I could do that. That sounds really tough. As bad as I want abs. I always sort of have abs a little bit, to sort of ab-shaped fat. And sometimes for the summer I'll try to get leaner, but I don't think I could do all of this. This is really tough, but it sounds like it would work. It definitely sounds like it'll work. So if anybody tries this, give us some feedback. Let us know how this works for you. So there's a really funny moment in my documentary, Raising the Bar 2, when during a training session, my brother Dave, who is the subject of the film, comes upon a young aspiring bodybuilder who has created an elaborate setup of benches just to do an extra deep push-up, if you can imagine that. Dave, needing to use at least one of the benches for something or other, jokingly confronts the kid, and he says, "Really? You need all this just to be you?" Now that means, of course, that there was a much better way of doing that exercise, which wouldn't inconvenience everyone else in the gym, and it also implies that he really wasn't being that effective anyway. So, did I get that right, Dave? Did I tell that well?
Absolutely right.
All right. So, tell me what you were thinking when you saw this kid, what he was doing, and your thoughts on that whole thing.
He had built this, fortress of benches just so he could do, a deep push-up. And, he was using 14 more benches than he had to. But it wasn't really me who busted his balls. If you remember, it was Timmy.
I know. That was really funny.
He goes, "What are you doing, building a fort?" And he goes, "Perhaps he's trying to spell out go team."
Because it did look like it was an O and a crisp T and everything. It was really, really funny.
Oh,
thank God Timmy was there that day.
I know.
Well, the topic for today then, working off of that, is keeping it simple in the gym. Was that kid overcomplicating things? Was there a simpler way to do what he was trying to do? Let's say, get a bigger stretch for your pectoral muscles.
Yes, there was a machine about 3 feet to his left that has more than enough range of motion, and he can easily do a drop set because it's pin selectorized. He could have just used that.
Where do you think he got that from, that idea?
I'm sure a magazine or a book or something, or a buddy. It's not that you can't do it that way. And I've done between bench push-ups before, where I set up 3 benches, 2 are parallel, and then the one's in the back for your feet. And it does work, but you have to make sure you're not in a crowded-ass gym where there's a dearth of benches.
And people, waiting to work out.
And Timmy waiting to insult you about it.
He jumped right on that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, have you seen other overcomplications in your years as a trainer?
Yeah, and I see it more and more and more.
Well, what are some of the things that people do that they probably don't need to be doing?
A lot of the functional stuff I think has gotten way out of hand, where I just see people and I just want to look away because I'm waiting for them to absolutely kill themselves. They're perched on top of a dumbbell that's sitting on its end, and there's a ball on top of the dumbbell, and they have 1 foot on that, and they're juggling 3-pound dumbbells, and their trainer has a stick up their ass. It's just absolutely just over the top, functional, but really dangerous shit.
What is the supposed benefits of doing something like that?
It's all functional lately. What they're trying to do is they're trying to incorporate the assister muscles, which, supposedly instead of just standing there and doing curls, right?
Yeah.
On the floor, if you're standing on a half a Bosu ball, which is constantly moving while you do your curls, you're going to recruit more fibers. You're going to actually be using more muscles. And you're going to burn more calories.
But
not enough to make any fucking difference.
Aren't you getting a lousy bicep workout that day?
Yeah, that brings me to this other genre of exercises where you're combining 2 or 3 things in one movement. I mean, if you think about results being garnered from time under tension, and you're looking at somebody doing, a lunge into a curl with the dumbbells. Then they stand up, they do a press, then they bring the press down, then they do another lunge, do a curl. There's a bunch of rest in between each rep of each of those three exercises that they're doing simultaneously. So in my opinion, other than it just being movement, yes, you're moving as opposed to not moving, which is great. But as far as a muscular workout and a strength workout and a hypertrophy workout, if that's what you're going for, you're doing 3 exercises half-assed.
I kind of get what the functional idea is all about. And I've seen things where it shows like a woman carrying groceries in one hand and pushing a baby carriage in the other, walking out to the car in the parking lot. And then they show you the exercises that help her prepare for that.
I get that too. But here's the thing. If you work in a gym and you've been in the gym for 24 years like I have, you realize that the person coming in there saying, yes, I'd like to be able to carry my grocery bags better, never fucking happens. Everyone walks in there and says, I want more toned this. I want my shoulders.
Well, that was my question. That was my question. I was leading up to. Does functional fitness reshape the body?
Well, I look at a lot of CrossFitters, and they look fucking great. They really do.
So they really do.
There's a case to be made for that kind of functional stuff. However, you can look great without putting yourself in such a volatile situation as CrossFit tends to be, in my opinion. I mean, it's really a very high risk way of getting to the intersection of ripped and beautiful, when you can get to that intersection, I think, with less overall risk. But again, they're probably using it because they like it. It's fun as well. But
right.
To each his own, and there's a place for everything, like I said.
So, in prescribing to people, for their workouts, how to keep it simple. I'm not just talking about things they should stay away from, but what should they be doing? What simple things should everyone be doing?
Well, it depends on if they're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, actually. So that's an actual broader question than you realize.
We have time.
It's going to be different for everybody. I truly think in the beginning, when someone has never moved their limbs against resistance, I think machines are a great option. They teach someone to push against resistance without having to use the assistant muscles and putting that at risk of dropping like a dumbbell on their head on flat benches. Once and you can stay on that for a few weeks and then graduate them slowly to free weights. As far as keeping it simple, you don't always have to keep it simple. You can complicate it a little bit. And I do believe in functional training, and I think it's great, and corrective training and all that. But the things that I've been seeing very recently in the gym and the trainers that are making the people perform these movements, I cringe sometimes at the unnecessary level of risk versus the potential benefits. And I try to search my mind for like a benefit that could possibly exist because they're putting themselves at that much risk. It makes it worth it, and I can't find one.
Is that just an example of the trainers making sure that their clients need them?
Yeah, to a degree, possibly.
Well, I know that you're not against altered exercises or compound exercises, and you have a few unique ones that you've developed yourself, like the row downs, which modified pull down. Which, could you explain that for people who haven't seen the infamous video?
Well, people who watch me do my pull downs are like, "You're doing your pull downs wrong." My answer to that is, I'm not doing pull downs at all. I'm doing a modified row on the pull down machine. I call it row downs because it's not a strict pull down. I do believe I can use more weight for more reps and isolate the lats better if I use this controlled cheating method that I call row downs. I actually have to see it to understand it, but you basically use the close grip handle. You start from a fully stretched position with your hands as close to the pulley as possible. You pull down and you rock your upper body to about a 45-degree angle, make contact to the sternum, bring it back up, and allow your upper body to almost come out of the seat as you reach for that pulley again and get a full stretch. And it's kind of like a row motion where there is no rest, so it's continual tension the whole time.
That is also demonstrated, by the way, in Raising the Bar 2. I think in that same segment where you guys make fun of the kid.
Yeah, it is in that same segment. But yeah, it's not a pull down. It never was. I realized very early. I remember even where I was when I realized that regular pull downs are not going to build me massive lats like I want to. And I invented the row down. I was 16 years old, and we worked out at the Southwest Fitness Center. And I had the owner build me a special thing that you put under the pull down where I could kneel down and put my heels behind it and swing.
Right.
Yep.
Do you have any other altered exercises along those same lines that people might want to try?
My leg extensions were always very strange as well. It was always a modified movement where there was a lot of rocking involved, but you could lose a lot more weight with continuous tension for a lot more reps than if you went really super strict. Let's say you could get half the stack for 10 if you went really strict and then you fail at 10. The way I did it, you could do the entire stack for 20, 30, 40 reps, which of course is still hitting the quadricep, still overloading the quadricep, and apparently the quadricep tendon.
Apparently.
Over time. Hey, but it worked. Yeah, and there's a swinging motion, and the movement is kind of like maybe 1.5 feet in range of motion. It's from the top to halfway down with a swing. After about 10 to 15 reps, it really starts to burn, and then you go another 10 to 15 into that.
I might not be able to walk, but at least I won my show.
Exactly. Now you're learning.
Any more exercises?
I modified everything. Everything I do, I modified in some crazy way, you know?
But you don't go out on the floor and train people in these techniques, do you?
No, I would never do that.
Why not?
This is how I do it, and it's not by the textbook, and I'm not going to teach that to people. If you work out with me, and over time you adopt my habits, and it works for you, and I didn't make you do it, and you're not a paying client, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm not going to be a personal trainer teaching people how to cheat.
Yeah, I get it. Too much liability.
Well, and you have to teach. You have to, before you can do controlled cheating and feel it in the proper muscle groups, like that row down.
Right. You
have to first learn how to do scapular retraction and really feeling and targeting the lats and doing textbook form for a while before you can graduate to something like. You can't just start off with the controlled cheating because you'll just be going through that motion and not really feeling it where you want to feel it. You feel it all in your biceps and your forearms, etc.
Does simplicity apply to diet as well, as far as you're concerned?
I think so. I've seen people get in shape eating 3 foods. I'm not saying it's a lifestyle, but hell, man. You need a protein source, you need a carb source, you need a vegetable source. Times that by 6. Boom, you're good to go. 12 weeks. It's not forever. Are there nutritional deficiencies in that thing? Yeah. Are you taking a multivitamin? Yeah. Are you taking some fish oil? Yeah. Is it 12 weeks? Yeah. It's a blink of an eye. You'll be shredded, you win your show, then you go back to eating more normally.
I did a series with Kai
I'm not
Green.
saying prescribe this. Wait a minute. I'm not saying this is what I prescribe to everybody.
All right, I know. Disclaimer.
Being in the industry, I've seen people do crazy diets like that.
Right. But I mean, I had done a series of videos with Kai Green called A Day in the Life of a Bodybuilder. And one of the first things he says in part 1 is people get too caught up in how many ounces of this and how much sodium is in that. He says, just get started. Just grill up some food and just start.
Start somewhere, right.
And keep it simple. People are always asking me to ask Kai Green to find out what his diet is. As if they ate the same thing that he did, that they would look like him. And he won't ever tell me. And he won't put it on camera either, by the way, because he knows that's ridiculous.
It's irrelevant what he eats.
It's totally irrelevant.
It is. Because he turns his food into Kai Green, and you turn your food into you.
And so many times, people I've been working with have proposed, well, we'll go to so-and-so bodybuilder, and you do like a day in the life, and we'll show everybody what he eats in a day. And I couldn't be less interested in doing that because I know that it's a waste of time. And yet I know that that's what people are really interested in. Their interest is misplaced, I think. Yeah,
I remember a time when I thought that. I really did. I was looking at what so stupid. I was looking at what one of the Olympia guys was eating, and I'm thinking, what's the reason for that? The reason was because he was hungry, and that's what was on the menu. So he was eating it and turning it into muscle because that's what his body does with food.
Right. Anyway, I want to segue into part 2 of this segment with you. And I want to do that by reading a post that you made on Facebook that I found really funny, that I'd like you to expand on a little bit and tell me what happened when you posted this.
Okay.
Okay, so this is Dave Pulcinella writing on Facebook. In keeping up with all the modern industry trends, my new daily fitness routine is as follows. Wake. Whenever. Skip my morning fasted cardio because science says it doesn't work and may actually make me fatter. Then have 3 cups of coffee with butter in it to speed my metabolism. It's called bulletproof coffee. I read about it. Great stuff. I skip all of my meals for the day and then cram them all in between 8 o'clock p.m. and 8:15 p.m. in keeping with the intermittent fasting protocol. Plus, everyone now knows that timing your meals is a hoax perpetuated by really jacked, lean guys with stable blood sugar and satiety levels. Then I skip my workout because I'm probably teetering on the edge of metabolic damage and complete CNS breakdown and disintegration of my entire endocrine system because I worked out really hard last Tuesday. I use IIFYM. Oh, I'm cracking you up with your own words. I use IIFYM for the meals because, well, it just doesn't matter what you eat. It's about the numbers, not nutrition. Duh. At some point, I'll get my daily exercise in the form of 37 seconds of HIIT cardio. Less is more, people. And HIIT cardio, unlike the demon fasted steady state cardio, won't make you gain fat, lose muscle, develop diabetes, contract the HIV, rickets, beriberi, and scurvy. Okay, so there you have it, outlined for educational purposes. I should be shredded in no time. What happened? First of all, where did that come from? Where did that come from? Why did you feel compelled to write that? And then what happened when you posted it?
I was on a roll with that one. I don't know. It came to me one morning. I was talking to Steve. I said, you know what, Steve? Keep an eye out for my next post. You're going to like it. I don't know where.
Our cousin Steve, the powerlifter?
Steve, yeah. I think I was thinking about, I had just gotten done working with one of my clients on the carb backloading and the bulletproof diet and all that. And it was a rousing failure. And she did it to the letter. And I was just like, and then it got me started to think about all the other things that have come along in the industry that for some reason always try to disprove those things about the bodybuilding lifestyle that are the most difficult and drudgery laden and
draconian
and
bless you.
Thank you. And require the most as far as sacrifice. All those things are being disproved, so you don't have to do them. How ironic is it that those things are being disproved? You know,
well, right, and the alternative is always easier.
Always easier and less specific and less structured and easier. No timing, just do it whenever. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but nothing in life works that way. It just doesn't. Where do you do less and gain more? Where? Just doesn't happen. You know, I want to be the CEO of this company. I'm going to cut my hours in half and start taking a lot of bathroom breaks and just eating 3 lunches a day and see what happens. This should be I read a scientific study that that's the best way to do it. Fuck you. Come on. Really? Get a grip. So I took all the industry trends and I put them into one daily routine that I now follow.
Well, where is this stuff coming from? I mean, it must be coming from some place of knowledge or experience or science. I mean, they have to be basing it on something.
I don't know. I've never seen the studies. I don't really care to be honest with you. And there's nobody out there. There's nobody out there who is at the top of their game, national level, pro level, who is using this stuff. You know who is? Recreational guys who don't really care about getting to that level, but want to have a modicum of the lifestyle of bodybuilding. And this is their version of it.
Right. So what happened when you posted it?
It got like 100 shares and all kinds of shit.
Well, I guess you were really tapping into something that a lot of people had been feeling.
I had no idea that many people were going to look at it and like it and share it and all that. But yeah, it's all over the place now.
But didn't a few people misinterpret it as being sincere?
Not a few, just a couple. They didn't realize that I was being sarcastic. But this goes against everything you ever told me. I can't believe that you're doing this. I'm like, sarcasm.
How can they not know?
It's sarcasm. Unless they were being sarcastic and I didn't pick up on it.
Oh, maybe. It's so hard to pick up on sarcasm in a
I know, we're
comment.
sarcasm font.
Sarcasm needs a font. I got to tell you, though, I'm a little upset that you made fun of HIIT cardio because I'm actually about to transition into that, and I don't think it's easier. I find it harder. I like to get on the...
I never said it was easier. More brief.
Yeah.
And really high intensity.
Right.
If you know anything about human physiology, you realize that above a certain level of intensity, your body switches over to burning stored sugars, not fat anymore. So you go anaerobic. So I'm sorry, I don't think it's a better way of burning fat. I think your ass needs to be at a lower level of intensity for a longer period of time. I'm sorry, I know it's fucking boring, and I know that you want to get off that thing and your ass hurts and the seat's crunching your balls, but guess what? That's how it's been done. That's how it's continuing to be done. If you incorporate HIIT, which I do think has its place, like I think everything has its place. I think it's a good adjunct once you have exhausted the fat loss from the steady state in the morning.
Yeah.
You put a little bit post workout at night of HIIT, and that gets you the rest of the way there. It has time and time again served its purpose for me in that capacity.
I forgot what I was going to say. I'm going to mark this down.
What you do?
The dog is now pacing behind me. That's what's happening.
I can hear his toenail.
I know. I was going to apologize for that because
you should leave this in.
She's got these long nails. First of all, I'm living with my girlfriend. She has a 80-pound, 75-pound dog, which is half Mastiff and half Pit Bull. Scary as shit looking, but sweet as anything. And Lynn is late getting home from work, so the dog is with me in my little studio here. And she was sleeping for most of the recording, but now she's doing her pacing thing. I think she probably needs to be walked, or she's hungry. Well, she can't be hungry. I fed her right before this. Or she just realizes that Lynn's not here, and she wonders where she is. She gets kind of anxious. She has some separation anxiety. She was a rescue,
right?
That Lynn. Whoever had this dog was using her to breed. They cut the babies out of her. They cut her open, cut the babies out, and then dumped her in front of a police station just to die. Yeah. Animal shelter. They brought her to an animal shelter. They sewed her up. She was all emaciated. She's a 75-pound dog. She was like 40 pounds or something. And Lynn went to adopt a little dog or something, and she saw this thing. It crawled over to her and put its big old head right in her lap and fell asleep. What can you do? What can you do at that point?
Gotta take it home.
Yeah, so she's a sweetheart, but she's big and she's old, and now she's pacing around behind us. That's that clickety-click sound you hear.
Now what it is, that's fine.
Yeah. But anyway, no, that was good. Just wanted to wrap up this segment. We hit our mark. I'm upset about the HIIT cardio. Well, actually, I was going to say I like the longer form steady state cardio. I find it easier to do, and mostly because I occupy myself by listening to podcasts, which increase my knowledge, or they're entertaining or something. It's actually a time of the day I look forward to getting away from everything and everyone, and just going into my own little world with my earbuds, and for 45 minutes, just chugging away and listening to something enjoyable.
So now, why are you switching to HIIT?
Well, one of the articles I'm preparing for an upcoming podcast mentions a few benefits to it.
Okay.
It doesn't burn up your muscles as much, so it says, based on certain studies and all. But now I don't know. I keep going back and forth with this kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I may do that on days where I don't have the full amount of time. To do the 45 minutes or up to an hour, which I do during the summer. So maybe I'll do like a 30-minute hit on those days when I just don't have the time to do it.
You got to keep hits short or else it doesn't work.
Like how short?
They say 15, 20, upwards of 20 tops because...
Oh, really?
You do, yeah. That's the whole idea. It's high intensity is brief duration.
Well, how high is the high intensity? How do you measure high intensity?
Balls to the wall. It's as hard as you can go.
As hard as you can go?
Yeah.
See, that's difficult. That's actually... I actually have to put more energy into that to get up and ready for that than I would for just to get on an elliptical and do it for 45 minutes.
I don't think it burns fat any better than anything else. I just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the debate continues.
Yeah, it does.
Not in your mind.
Not in my mind. In the meantime, I'll do my cardio and get ripped, and I'll be fine.
All right, Dave. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Always fun.
I'll see you later.
Later.
And now, one of my favorite stories from a sci-fi and horror master. Richard Matheson is the author of dozens of novels, short stories, and scripts for both movies and TV. He's known for writing I Am Legend, which was adapted into a movie with Will Smith, What Dreams May Come, turned into a film with Robin Williams, The Incredible Shrinking Man from the 50s, numerous Twilight Zone episodes, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, Star Trek and Night Stalker episodes, one of my favorite movies, and Steven Spielberg's directorial debut, Duel. You should look that up if you haven't seen it. And the classic TV horror movie Trilogy of Terror, and on and on. I remember reading this super short story in Fantasy and Science Fiction magazine years ago, and it stuck with me ever since. I love it for its unique viewpoint, economy of style, vivid imagery, and, well, you'll see. Born of Man and Woman by Richard Matheson. X. This day when it had light, Mother called me a wretch. You wretch, she said. I saw in her eyes the anger. I wonder what is it, a wretch? This day it had water falling from upstairs. It fell all around. I saw that. The ground of the back I watched from the little window. The ground, it sucked up the water like thirsty lips. It drank too much, and it got sick and runny brown. I didn't like it. Mother is a pretty, I know. In my bed place, with cold walls around, I have a paper things that was behind the furnace. It says on it, Screen Stars. I see in the pictures faces like of mother and father. Father says they are pretty. Once he said it. And also mother, he said. Mother so pretty, and me decent enough. Look at you, he said, and didn't have the nice face. I touched his arm, and said, It is all right, father. He shook, and pulled away where I couldn't reach. Today mother let me off the chain a little, so I could look out the little window. That's how I saw the water falling from upstairs. XX. This day it had goldness in the upstairs. As I know, when I looked at it my eyes hurt. After I look at it, the cellar is red. I think this was church. They leave the upstairs. The big machine swallows them and rolls out past and is gone. In the back part is the little mother. She is much small than me. I can see out the little window all I like. In this day, when it got dark, I had eat my food and some bugs. I hear laughs upstairs. I like to know why there are laughs for. I took the chain from the wall and wrapped it around me. I walked squish to the stairs. They creak when I walk on them. My legs slip on them because I don't walk on stairs. My feet stick to the wood. I went up and opened a door. It was a white place, white as white jewels that come from upstairs sometime. I went in and stood quiet. I hear the laughing some more. I walk to the sound and look through to the people. More people than I thought was. I thought I should laugh with them. Mother came out and pushed the door in. It hit me and hurt. I fell back on the smooth floor and the chain made noise. I cried. She made a hissing noise into her and put her hand to her mouth. Her eyes got big. She looked at me. I heard Father call. What fell? He called. She said an iron board. Come help pick it up, she said. He came and said, now is that so heavy you need? He saw me and grew big. The anger came in his eyes. He hit me. I spilled some of the drip on the floor from one arm. It was not nice. It made ugly green on the floor. Father told me to go to the cellar. I had to go. The light, it hurt some now in my eyes. It is not so like that in the cellar. Father tied my legs and arms up. He put me on my bed. Upstairs I heard laughing while I was quiet there, looking on a black spider that was swinging down to me. I thought what Father said. Oh God, he said, and only 8. XXX. This day, Father hit the chain again before it had light. I have to try to pull it out again. He said I was bad to come upstairs. He said never do that again or he would beat me hard. That hurts. I hurt. I slept the day and rested my head against the cold wall. I thought of the white place upstairs. XXXX. I got the chain from the wall out. Mother was upstairs. I heard little laughs, very high. I looked out the window. I saw all little people like the little mother and little fathers too. They are pretty. They were making nice noise and jumping around the ground. Their legs was moving hard. They're like mother and father. Mother says all right people look like they do. One of the little fathers saw me. He pointed at the window. I let go and slid down the wall in the dark. I curled up as they would not see. I heard their talks by the window and foots running. Upstairs there was a door hitting. I heard the little mother call upstairs. I heard heavy steps and I rushed in my bed place. I hit the chain in the wall and lay down on my front. I heard my mother come down. Have you been at the window? She said. I heard the anger. Stay away from the window. You have pulled the chain out again. She took the stick and hit me with it. I didn't cry. I can't do that. But the drip ran all over the bed. She saw it and twisted away and made a noise. Oh, my God, my God, my God, she said. Why have you done this to me? I heard the stick go bounce on the stone floor. She ran upstairs. I slept the day. XXXXX. This day it had water again. When Mother was upstairs, I heard the little one come slow down the steps. I hid myself in the coal bin, for Mother would have anger if the little mother saw me. She had a little live thing with her. It walked on the arms and had pointy ears. She said things to it. It was all right, except the live thing smelled me. It ran up the coal and looked down at me. The hairs stood up. In the throat it made an angry noise. I hissed, but it jumped on me. I didn't want to hurt it. I got fear because it bit me harder than the rat does. I hurt, and the little mother screamed. I grabbed the live thing tight. It made sounds I never heard. I pushed it all together. It was all lumpy and red on the black coal. I hid there when Mother called. I was afraid of the stick. She left. I crept over the coal with the thing. I hid it under my pillow and rested on it. I put the chain in the wall again. X. This is another times. Father chained me tight. I hurt because he beat me. This time, I hit the stick out of his hands and made noise. He went away, and his face was white. He ran out of my bed place and locked the door. I am not so glad. All day it is cold in here. The chain comes slow out of the wall, and I have a bad anger with Mother and Father. I will show them. I will do what I did that once. I will screech and laugh loud. I will run on the walls. Last, I will hang head down by all my legs and laugh and drip green all over until they are sorry they didn't be nice to me. If they try to beat me again, I'll hurt them. I will. How great is that? Oh, that is so much fun to read. And in just a few hundred words, Matheson paints a chilling picture and slyly reveals details to us along the way without explaining things straight out. It's genius. I also love that this is told from the monster's point of view. You know, that we come to understand that the monster is really just some kind of mutant child, which is completely horrifying, and how we come to realize that it's growing in strength and menace. I love the way he uses language in this. You know, it was wet upstairs to describe rain. My brother and I still say to each other, I'm going to make him all red and lumpy when we get mad at someone, like the creature did to the kitten. To me, it's just a perfect little gem of a story, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed reading it. Maybe we'll do some more stories in the future, because that was kind of fun. Thanks for listening to Voices of Bodybuilding. Just a reminder that you can send me articles to be considered for this podcast at mike@mikepulcinella.com. They can be articles you find or pieces you write yourself. So till next time, stay active and stay healthy.